I don't know if you've noticed, but Dead by Daylight is a horror game. I know, a lot of us forget about that sometimes. Ever since its initial release in 2016, the game has gone through some major changes. The biggest one being its change from a hide-and-seek simulator to the chase-oriented game we have today. However, the direction the game is currently heading with the announcement of new changes to Survivor gameplay has me a little worried because this game should always be killer-sided. That's right, I said it. It needs to be killer-sided. And before you go down to the dislike button or the comment section to tell me I'm wrong, just give me a chance to explain myself. What separates horror from any other genre is the big power difference between the villain and the protagonist. The killer is always stronger, faster, and sometimes more devious than the main character. The second the killer stops being a threat, the entire thing falls apart. Horror only works when the threat is real. Think about it. How pathetic would it be if Michael Myers got beat in a fist fight against the first character he went against? Like that one scene in Halloween Kills when the whole town kicks the shit out of Michael. Imagine the movie ended right there. Like if that was the first scene and then the movie ended. Like that would be a joke. Or like if Ellen Ripley roundhouse kicked the xenomorph in the face and it ran away in the first minute of the movie. That's not horror. That's a parody. That's a scary movie. Horror is about the imbalance and how everyday people can overcome that imbalance. Every chase should feel like the final act in a slasher film, where the last survivor is making a desperate attempt to escape. Shout out to Sidney Prescott for being the best loop I've ever seen in a horror movie. But when you try to balance the game, it stops being scary. And I'm not saying there should be an overwhelming imbalance where the survivor dies in every match. I'm talking about trying to balance the asymmetrical. Let's say that the killer, with all perks and add-ons, runs at 100%. If you put them on one side of the scale, each survivor should be 25% in the power scale. You know, one killer equals 4 survivors. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. In the game's current state, a good team of 4 survivors would be an even match to any killer. And as every killer may knows, the biggest weakness to any killer, no matter how strong it is a good cohesive team. I've gone against some Swift that have wrecked me to the point that I'll never forget how bad it was. Like it happened like months ago and I'm still thinking about it. Yeah, that's right, I'm looking at you, the Mad Hatter Ace. But with the introduction of new mechanics like anti-slugging, anti-camping, anti-tunneling, and item buffs like maps working as windows of opportunity and keys being used to read killer's aura, the power of a single survivor just starts to skyrocket. It's no longer a desperate attempt to escape, you're just clowning around with the killer. Now I understand that a lot of people believe the game should favor survivors because most of the player base are survivor mains, and that the only way to keep the player base steady is to raise the power level of each survivor to keep them happy. More escapes equals happier survivors, right? Well, yes, but also no. The game is a 1v4. Not a 5v5 like I've seen in other live service games. If one side keeps getting buffs, the other is just going to leave. Just like when the Ghoul came out, remember that? The killer side got so annoyingly intense that the long-standing survivors may just stop playing. Now we might be seeing the same exact thing happen, but on the survivor side. You can't have a 1v4 if no one wants to play as the one. If we lose killer mains, queue times will go up, survivors will get bored, and the killer mains that do stay behind are going to be the most motherless, sweaty bastards you've ever seen. And everyone loses, and no one ate dinner that night. You don't keep a ship afloat by handing everyone more life jackets. You keep it afloat by patching holes. And right now, it seems like they're giving everyone like a bunch of extra life jackets, and the ship is just heading straight towards an iceberg. Having the killer be stronger isn't bad balance, it's good design. It's what makes Dead by Daylight work. The killer should always be stronger in comparison to a single survivor. It makes each match feel like its own horror movie. Every decision, every action, every move matters. Every gen completed feels earned, and every escape is a moment of pure victory. Not because you were so buff that it was easy, but because you outplayed someone against the odds. That is the core of horror. Dead by Daylight doesn't need to be perfectly one-to-one balance. It needs to be a scary good time. Because when the killer is stronger than you, survivors get a fun story worth telling. Let me know in the comments section what you think. If you like what I'm saying, might as well just give it a like, right? And consider subscribing for like any other random things I want to do. Okay, well that's gonna be it for today. See ya!